Right. Hi, Mrs. M. How are you doing today?
Good, how are you?
I'm good. I just want to let you know that Ash is a fantastic helper. Anytime I need help passing out any papers or cleaning up after school, she's always the first one to volunteer. And I just want you to know how much I truly appreciate it. Lately, we've been doing some reading assessments in class. We've been going over phonemic awareness, phonics, fluency, and comprehension. I'm just going to go a little bit deeper into what each of those is. So phonemic awareness is vital for understanding the oral language. It is the ability to hear sounds. We teach it because it helps students figure out correlation between reading the letters and making words, as well as how those words sound when you say it out loud. The term phonics refers to many different approaches of understanding the orthographic code of language. There are many different relationships between how words are spoken out loud versus how the words are actually spelled. In the English language, there are numerous different rules and patterns the letter sounds follow. The ability to decode these are extremely important for students to understand. The foundation of reading is embedded within knowing how to decode letters into sounds to create words. So the next part we did was fluency. Fluency is the ability to read text correctly and quickly. Fluency is reading, it's also like a student's ability to read the text with expression. By the time a student is considered to be a very fluent reader, most of the words that are read are automatic, and the child does not need to decode each letter sound correspondence. So the next part was the comprehension. It's the understanding and interpretation of what is read. To be able to accurately understand written material, children need to be able to decode what they read. They need to make connections between what they read and what they already know. They also need to be able to think deeply about what they read. We teach this so students can draw conclusions from what they are reading, and they need to be able to tell what is important, what is a fact, and what caused an event to happen. So there's a couple areas of strengths that Ash really just excels in, and those are initial consonants, and final consonants. And we got this information from the spelling test she took. She got 7 out of 7 on both those categories. The next one was a comprehension test, which, as you know, she's been reading the Magic Treehouse series in class, and she took a comprehension test on one of the chapters, and she got 100% on it as well. So it's been pretty great. So what do you see Ash struggling with the most at home when she's reading?
Well, I see that she pauses a lot and has trouble stopping at periods and things like that.
So that's interesting that you say that, because one of her areas of growth that we're really working on lately has been fluency. We're also working on her diagraphs and her blends.
Okay, how are you helping my daughter in the classroom?
So we're doing a couple different strategies to really drive the point of diagraphs, which is family builders. These are worksheets with pictures and the rhymes that go with the pictures. So there's also onsets that go with the pictures. So an onset requires that students know the first letter of the word. So for example, you would see the word cat, and the onset would be the letter C. So she would have to figure out that cat starts with the C, and the at part would be the rhyme. So the second thing we're doing is to work on her blends, and it's called Guess the Word Game. So what we do as a class is place a small number of picture cards in front of all the children, and I tell them that I'm going to say a word using snail talk, which is a slow way of saying words such as flag. They have to look at the pictures and guess the word I'm going to say. So it's important that children guess the answer in their head so that everyone gets an opportunity, so that students that aren't performing as well with this still have an opportunity to come up with their own answer, and then when we come together as a class, they're able to make their own corrections mentally. It also keeps all the kids engaged that way they're not just relying on their peers to give them the answer. So another strategy we're doing is to help with her long vowels, which is another area she has been struggling a little bit with. And what we're doing is matching books to phonics. So for example, the last book we read is Sheep in a Jeep, and we read it as a class, and the students all listened to me read it, and then they got with a partner and read it individually with their partner, and then they went back to their desk and all came up with a list of long E vowel words. Then together as a class, we went over and found all the 32 words in the story. So we're constantly changing the story and changing the vowels so that she gets a better understanding of everything.
Okay. How can I help my daughter at home?
So I have a question for you before I give you some examples of that, is what are some hobbies that Ash has?
So she really loves robots and Frozen right now.
So I came up with a couple of strategies just because I know how much she does love robots. So the strategy that I used for her robot love is something to really help her with her fluency, which is something you noticed she was struggling with as well. And it's called robot talk. So you as the parent would become the robot leader and you say this rhyme in a robot voice and then you have her respond. So you say, I am a robot. Can you help me? Can you tell me what I see? I see a cat at a butt. And then you encourage her to repeat it in the same robot talk, and then you'll see the blend in the final word and she'll be able to develop it. So this is going to help her become a more fluent reader because she'll be able to see the correlation between each letter and its sound, therefore developing her knowledge on fluent reading. Another thing that that she struggles with is the diagrams, like I mentioned. And we have a fun game that we play in class sometimes that I think would be easy for you to do at home, which is called I Spy. So you select an object in the room and provide phonics clues to help the child guess what it is. So, for example, you say, I spy something that begins with the sound sh. And then you keep offering clues until she's able to guess that the word you're trying to say is shell. You can use the sticky notes to label objects so that she can see the letters as well as hear the sounds. So can you see yourself implementing any of these strategies at home?
Yeah, especially the robots one, just because that's something she's so into right now. I feel like she would even think it was just a fun game and not even realize that she was learning at the same time. Are there any resources you can send home with my daughter?
Yeah, so a third way that we can really help Ash develop fluency is by reading children's books. So reading at a lower level and just practicing herself with like getting to know the words and like building her confidence is going to make her more fluent reader, and she's going to get more practice. Just make sure you're changing up the books. So I just want to let you know that Ash is truly a wonderful person, and her personality is a great addition to our classroom. She's so sweet, and she sets a great example for the rest of her classmates. So thank you so much for coming in tonight, and it was a pleasure seeing you again.
Thanks for having me.